Hi, Ron Nichols Papidis here from sunny Cyprus, and this is the second in the series of Minecraft Education Edition tutorials. This one's all about moving around and navigating, using those coordinates to understand our location, learning where north is, south, west, and east, and then we're going to learn about how we can access our inventory and start building blocks. So this is all about learning and understanding the controls. So let's get started. I'm here in Minecraft Education Edition. I've already signed in with my school account. And now I'm going to click on play. I've got a world which I've already set up. So I'm going to go to view my worlds. And I've got this one here, this tutorial world. So first things first, the H button on your keyboard will display the keyboard actions for certain buttons. So that's going to be a really big help. If you ever forget what button does what, just press the H button. If you press it again, it will actually make that overlay vanish. Press it again, it comes back. So that's a nice little addition there. So I'm just going to leave that there. We're going to work through this together. I'm going to move my camera now so you can actually see my keyboard while I'm working with this. Just make it easier for you to understand. Okay, so here's my keyboard, here's the layout, and we're going to have a look at the buttons which are displayed in this overlay. So the first ones that we need, and the most important ones, are WSAD for moving forwards, back, left and right, the space for jumping and for flying, and the other really important one is the shift button so that you can fly down or sneak. So the way that you're going to place your fingers on the keyboard are as follows. So my index finger rests on the D button. My ring finger, the fourth finger, rests on the A button, like that. And my middle finger will be controlling the W and the S button for forwards and backwards. The A is for left and the D is for right. So you put your fingers in this configuration. My little finger is going to rest on the shift button. This one here. I don't press it, but it will rest there. And my thumb, the last finger, is going to rest on the space bar. So you're using all 5 fingers. It's a bit of a juggling act and it's not easy. So if you've never played an FPV game before, first player view, a first person view, it's with the keyboard is kind of tricky. So this is the first thing that you really need to master. So resting your hand in this configuration. So if I press the the W button now, it moves forward. If I press the S button, it moves backwards. And I'm just going to place a block so you can actually see that. I'm going to place a block here. So if I press the S button now, I move backwards. If I press the W, I move forwards, S backwards. Now with my index finger, if I press the D button, I move to the right. And with my ring finger, if I press the A, I move to the left. So we actually do a juggling act of using these 4 buttons. Okay. Now you can see on my screen this cross which is right in the middle of my screen. That is my line of sight. That is where my player is actually looking. So if I press the F5 button on my keyboard now, the F5 button is this one up here, the function key F5. So if I press on that and keep pressing, I change the view of the player. So this is first person view. I'm actually the player and I'm seeing through the player's eyes. If I press it again, I'm outside the body and I'm behind the player. So as I move forward, I can see if I move to the right, if I move to the left, and if I move backwards. So I'm actually behind that player. Now, if I then press F5 again, I'm actually in front of the player. Not a very easy view to use. So that's forward. This is backwards. And now if I go right, I actually see my player going to the left because I'm in front of him, looking at him from the front. And if I go to the left, he moves to the right. So the best view I suggest is you keep pressing F5. You can actually toggle through the different views. Keep the first person view. Now, this mouse pointer here moves whenever I'm going to move my mouse. So here's my mouse. As I move my mouse left or right, I'm going to place my mouse on my laptop there. So as I move this over to the right, move it forward, it looks up. Move it down, he looks down. If I move my mouse to the right, he turns to the right. Move my mouse to the left, turns to the left. Now if I change the view, pressing F5, you can actually see that in motion. So as I move over my mouse to the right, there you go, over to the left, So to the left, he turns to the left. Move up, he looks up. Move down, he looks down. Okay, so let's just go back to a first person view. So the mouse is really important because that's the direction you're looking. So simply by clicking on the W button, which is moving forward, and I'm just going to keep that pressed non-stop. By moving the mouse to the left, I'm turning my head to the left. So that's forward. Wherever I'm looking, wherever my player is looking, that is forward. So if I turn over to the right, that's forward there. And all I'm pressing now is just that W button there. Now, if I want to run quickly, again, you need to double tap the W button 2 times, and on the second time, hold it down. So have a look. If I go tap, tap, and hold it down, I didn't do quick enough. Can you see? If I try that again, tap, tap, and hold it down, he's actually moving faster. So here we go. Tap, tap, he's moving faster. So let's just play. If I hold it down without with just one tap, that's quite slow. Double tap, 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 and hold, faster. Okay, and the running only works in forward motion, so it doesn't really work moving backwards. All right, next thing that we're going to have a look at, so that's moving around, and you really need to practice this, going left, right, backwards and forwards, and moving your mouse while you're moving your fingers as well, so you can actually learn how to move around, double tap to run, and so on and so forth. Okay, the next thing that we want to do, I want you to notice my player's hand. As I'm moving forward, you can see the hand going like this, bobbing up and down. So I know my player is walking. If I double tap and he's running, it actually bobs faster. I'm going to move my, let me just move the video out the way so it's not in the way there, so you can actually see the hand. There we go. So let's just go back now. So if I move forward, you can see there's a slight bobbing of the hand. If I run, that hand is actually moving much faster. Now, this is going to be useful because this is going to let you know when you're flying or when you're walking. Now, to fly, I'm going to press the space button. Now, if I press the space button 1 time, my player jumps. If I press double tap and hold, there you go, and I'm holding, my player is flying. As soon as I let go, my player stays in the air, and now I can move around in the air just like I do on the floor. Okay, so forward is forward in the direction I'm looking, and turning around, I can go backwards, I can go left, I can go right. Now then, notice while I'm flying, the player's hand is not bobbing, it's not going left and right. So that's an indication of flying. And I say this, why? Because if I want to fly down, I'm going to press the shift button. That's where my little finger is resting. You see, my little finger is there. So I'm going to just press the shift button for a short while and let go. There you go. He falls down a little bit more, a little bit more. If I press the space button with my thumb, which is resting here, like that, hold it down, my player flies. So with the shift button, I can fly down slowly. With the space, I can fly up. If I want to fall down on the ground, so that I'm walking, so I'm touching on the ground, I double tap the space bar. Tap, tap. And there you go. My player is on the floor. And I know he's on the floor because as I'm walking, you can see the hand bobbing left and right. Okay? Now, I say this why. If I'm going to fly again, so there I'm flying, I'm going to fly down all the way to the bottom. Now, it looks like I'm going to be walking here. In fact, I'm not, because I haven't double tapped the space bar to make him land on the ground. And I know he's not walking because as I move forward, that hand is not bobbing left and right. Can you see that? And if I double tap to go forward quickly, look what happens. He moves really fast. Okay, so that's much faster than running. Okay, so if you want to move quickly, the idea is that you're going to fly, use the shift to go all the way down to the bottom, and then when you double tap, you can actually move really quickly. Okay, now this has an effect when you want to trigger things later on. Let's say pressure pads, you're not actually walking, so pressure pads will not be activated. So things like pressure pads to open doors, you need to now double tap the space bar. That has landed my player on the floor, and I know this because as I start moving, you can see his hand bobbing left and right. So my player is actually moving, well, walking, not moving. All right, the next one that we're going to have a look at, and I'm going to show you this using the structure that I've got here. So I'm going to double tap so I can go onto the top of this structure here, and I'm going to double tap the space so I can land on top of it. Okay, now if I go to the right or to the edge of this and I go too far, and I'm going to use this view here. So if I go to the left or the right, let's go to the right, you can see if I go to the edge, boom, my player falls down. So if I fly back up again, double tap, move over to the left, double tap, so I land. Now I'm going to go to first person view, to this view again. Now this time I'm going to be holding with my little finger the shift button, and just so you can see what happens, can you see that my player has crouched down? He's actually, this is called sneak mode, so you're sneaking. With this pressed, and I've got my little finger holding down that shift button, if I try and fall off, it won't let me. I cannot fall off a structure. Okay, so I can move forward, I can go all the way to the end, and I can sneak, and I know that I can't fall off, so that's just going to keep me safe. So if I go back to first person view, let me just let go. Okay, and you can see here I'm actually on the edge and I can't fall off because I'm sneaking around. Okay, I've got that shift button pressed with my little finger. Okay, so that's a nice little tip for you there. All right, the next button is your inventory, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fall down on this. There we go. Whee, boom, it's gone. So by pressing the E button on my inventory, this is all the items that I've got available. I can choose any one of these to build with. Now you can see at the bottom here, I've already got some blocks. Okay, I've already added some blocks, and when you add some blocks, you will actually go from here, and let's say I'm just going to choose this one here, click on it, and then click here, and that will add it in my backpack. So if I press escape, I've now got this one as well. Now I'm going to bring my mouse in view again. And this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the wheel, this wheel here. And as I'm moving this wheel, you can see the items in my backpack and the item in my hand, of my player's hand, is actually changing. So this is how I can select what block I want to use to build with. Okay, so you're going to use that mouse wheel there. Now, building, and I'm going to leave my mouse here so we can actually get a better view of this. And if I do that, that'll be a bit better. Oh, let me just lock this up. Okay, so I'm going to use my left mouse button, and if I click, can you see that cross has now selected this square in front of me? Okay, now I'm just going to move this camera view out the way, bring it over this side now. There we go. Okay, so, and I'm going to press the H button to get rid of that view there. Okay, so here's my mouse. So if I now, looking at this block here, which is highlighted, or that one there, if I click with the left mouse click, my index finger, I break. So anything I click on, I can now use the left to break. Now you can see as I move forward, that block there is selected. At some point, I can only select about 4 or 5 blocks ahead. I can't select more. So if I want to break more, I need to move forward in that direction. Okay, now let's move back. If I want to build and put some blue blocks here, I'm going to use the wheel on the mouse to select the block that I want. Let's say I'm going to use the yellow block, and then I'm going to use the right mouse button, and the right mouse button will place a block where I've got my cursor. The left mouse button will break, the right mouse button will build. Let's add and move some more blocks. So I'm going to use the E button to go to my inventory. Let's just put that there again. Okay, and so that's the E button, and press the E button again. I can make my inventory come and go. So from here I can scroll down, I can choose different inventory. So I'm going to use, let's say I want to remove a block. Let's say my backpack here is full and I want to add a block, let's say some of the chemical blocks, the chemistry blocks here. So I'm going to click on this one here, rubidium. I'm going to click on top of one of these. That's going to switch them over and replace the one that was there, and I can click back in here to release that block. So now when I press the E button, I can now go back and I can select that block there, and I can build with that block. Okay, so we can choose different blocks, and different blocks have different properties. We're going to see the properties of different blocks in another tutorial because Minecraft, again, very intuitive. Different blocks have different properties. Some you can build with, some you can't, some you can. So we're going to see how that works. So for now, let's just understand the basics of building. So I'm going to choose this red. Actually, let's go with the continue with the yellow. So I'm going to place this yellow block here, and I'm going to, if I the block has got 6 faces: the bottom, the side faces, and the top face. Now, depending on which face my cursor is looking at, so I'm looking at this face here right now. If I click, let's just put my mouse here so you can see. If I now click with the right mouse button, the block which is selected in my backpack, the yellow one, will be placed on that face. If I put my that cursor in the middle on the top face of this block and click with the right mouse button, it will put the block on top of that face. Okay, so that, and then if I choose this block here and choose the left mouse button, it breaks that block and that one can stay in the air. Okay, now most blocks can do this, some blocks can't. As I said, we'll see some of this in another tutorial. So essentially that's how we can build. So if I want to build a tower, I can now fly, double tap the space. Okay, and now I'm just going to fly down and I can start going up and build up, and there you go. I've double tapped, I've landed. So if I want to fly again, I'm going to double tap. Okay, and I can carry on flying there. Now up here I'm too high up, so I can't place a block. I need to move down here a little bit, so with the shift button, until I can actually get in range and build, and there's my tower. And if I want to fly backwards now, I can keep pressing, there you go, with the right mouse button. I'm going to move back a bit more, and with the right mouse button I'm going to place on this face. Can you see I'm going to be on the left face now? That's going to build there. Okay, and if I want to break, I can simply use the left mouse button and just break all these blocks and just fly down, and I can break within range. Those are the basics of building. Now the last thing that I want to do in this tutorial is to show you a little bit about navigation. So understand that there is a north, there is a south, and a west, and an east. Just before I do that, now I'm going to show you a little tip here. So let's say you've got a block that you want to use, but it's not in your inventory. So I'm just going to press on E on my keyboard. I'm going to get rid of this gold block, and I'm going to get rid of some of these blocks here, and I'm going to press escape or E to go back. Now in my inventory I don't have a gold block, but there are gold blocks here. There's a gold block here for me. So instead of going to the inventory and finding that gold block and selecting it and adding it, what I can do, here's my mouse, I'm going to use the wheel again. So I'm going to place my cursor to be pointing at the gold block, any gold block, it doesn't matter which one it is. Okay, and most mouse wheels, all mouse wheels now, have got 2 functions. You can move them, roll them backwards and forwards, and that's what we do to select the different items in our backpack there, or we can press the button on the wheel. So if I press that button now, like this, so here it is, while I'm pointing at the gold block, can you see now in my inventory, in the slot that was empty on the left, that one there, it added the gold block. So you can select the block which is in view and add it to your inventory in your backpack simply by using the mouse wheel button. Okay, now if your mouse wheel is full, let's say I'm going to go over here where the white blocks are. I don't have white concrete, so from here I'm going to press the wheel on my button again while I'm pointing it, and it should add it in the empty block in my backpack. Here we go. There you go, it's added it. So I've selected that. Now if my backpack is full, so let me just press E, get rid of that white block, add something else like this one here. What you want to do, you want to choose the block you want to replace it with. So let's say I want to add this white block. I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse. I'm just going to gently roll that forward until I choose this block, rubidium block. I don't want this block anymore. So now when I choose the wheel on my mouse and I press that button, it replaces, because I don't have any empty slots, it will replace that block the block which I had selected with the block that I have now clicked on with the mouse wheel. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to cover now is going to be this one here. We're going to understand a little bit about navigation and coordinates. So the first thing that I want to do is to enable the coordinates on my world. So I'm going to press escape on my keyboard, and from here I'm going to go to settings. Okay, so from here in settings, if I scroll down, so these are my game settings, I'm going to make sure I'm going to tick here show coordinates. Now this is a really good feature to have enabled. So I'm going to go back by pressing escape and escape, and now you can see now on the top left of my screen it says position, and it has 3 coordinates, 3 numbers separated with a comma: 284, 10, 41. These are the X, Y, Z coordinates in that order. So the first number are the X coordinates, the second number is the Y coordinates, and the last number are the Z coordinates. So what are these? Well, essentially the Z coordinate, let's place my player right here in the middle here on this black spot here. Okay, now if I'm on this black spot and I'm facing the direction I'm facing, this is north. Now how do I know it's north? Well, we're going to see that now in a second. So to my right is east, to my left is west, and behind me is south. Now north coordinates, when I'm moving to the north, and if you look at the coordinates now at the top, in the top left corner there, as I start moving on this white line moving towards north, you can see that the Z coordinates are moving downwards. So 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, so on and forth. And only that coordinate is moving because I'm moving in this straight line. So when the Z coordinate is moving downwards, I'm moving north. And that's what that means here. Minus Z coordinates. So when the Z coordinates are decreasing, we're moving north. So that's north. This is south. As south coordinates, as the Z coordinates are increasing, I'm moving south. It makes no difference which direction I'm looking at. If I'm moving in that direction, so my Z coordinates here are increasing, so I'm moving south. And that's what that means. So increasing Z means moving south. Okay, so if I now go here, the X coordinates control the east and the west. So if I move to the right, which is east, I can see that that X coordinate is going 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. So increasing in X coordinates plus X coordinates, that's moving to the east. If my X coordinates are decreasing, though that's me going this way, you can see 303, 2, 1, 299. If those numbers are decreasing, I'm moving west. So that's negative X coordinates. Okay. So I know I'm moving north. So if I go over here and I don't know where north is, I'm just going to move around. So I'm going to face in the direction. I'm going to see a line. So here's a line. So if I just place a block and I move towards or move away from that block in any of the 2 directions, the one where the Z coordinate is decreasing, so that's increasing the Z coordinate, that's decreasing the Z coordinate, so that's north. Moving backwards, that's south. So obviously this side here is going to be east and that side's west. All right. The last coordinate is the Y coordinate, and that's the up and down. You can see when I'm on the ground, I'm on number 4. If I fly up, and I'm already in fly mode, and I know I'm in fly mode because as I'm moving along, you can see my hand is not really, as I'm running, it's not bobbing around that much. So I'm still in fly mode. If I fly up, you can see that Y coordinate increasing. So increasing Y is going to be going upwards. Decreasing in Y, that's when I hold the shift button, that's going downwards. If I double tap the space bar, I fall down to the ground. Way rapid movement, and I land on number 4. Why is ground level 4? Well, I'm just going to move away from here so you can see, because I'm going to dig up the ground. When you're in a flat world, now only in the flat world, you've got 4 layers of blocks. So I'm just going to dig up some of this here. So that's the first layer. Okay. And I'm going to dig up the next layer. So let's just go here. That's the second layer down. So that's 2 blocks down. Okay. So that's a step. So there's my, I'm going to do these with yellow or different colors. So that's first block. That there is another level down. That one is another level down, blue. And if I dig one more, that's the bedrock. That's the bottom of the world, this black and gray block here. So if I dig that out, I can see the bottom of the world, and that's the void. Now, you'll find that students will fall down. So you can see there's 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, and that one there 4. Let's just put another block there for argument's sake. Oh, let's put white. Okay, so 4 blocks down is the flat world. If somebody falls into the void, you fall to the bottom of the world. And if you look up, there's the hole that you fell out of. And there are a couple of other holes that I fell out of before. So you don't keep falling. You go to a certain level, which is this one here. And to get back into the world, you simply need to fly up. So I'm going to double tap the space bar and hold down. Now I'm flying up. And it's kind of difficult to fly through the hole that you made sometimes. So you may just want, as I'm flying, I can let go and I'm staying where I am. I can dig out a bigger hole and then just keep flying so I can get through. Okay. And then I'm here. And I can double tap again. So I land on the floor. And it's always a good idea to fill up these holes. So I'm just going to use this grass block here and just fill that up. So no one falls down there again. Okay, that's essentially navigation, your X, Y, Z coordinates. It's really good to locate. Every point in this world has got a unique, unique coordinates. Okay, there is no world, there's no point in this world that has duplicate coordinates. So it's like a GPS locator. Anywhere you go, you're in unique coordinates. So it's always a good idea when you start building somewhere, you record these coordinates, and that way you know exactly how to get back to where your home is. All right, those were the basics. Our next tutorial that we're going to have a look at is going to be building and looking at the different blocks and creating various structures and properties of blocks. If you learned something new, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and if you do subscribe, you'll be notified when the next tutorial comes out on building blocks. Take care. Bye-bye.